The diner door didn't just open, it exploded inward like something had been chasing it. The little girl stumbled through, soaking wet, barefoot, her dark skin glistening with rain and fear. Her braids hung limp against her face, beads clicking as she trembled. Her eyes were impossibly wide, not crying exactly, but beyond that, past tears, into something older. "Please," she gasped, voice breaking. "He's coming, please." The Sunday morning breakfast crowd froze mid-bite. Forks hovered, coffee cups stopped halfway to mouths. But it was the 5 bikers in the back booth who moved first. Marcus, the oldest, set down his mug slow and deliberate. Trey dropped his cigarette into the ash tag, eyes sharpening. Kane straightened, shoulders widening. Darius pushed his plate away, already scanning the parking lot through the rain-streaked windows. And Vic, quiet Vic, who never said much, stood up like he'd been waiting for this moment his whole life. The girl's chest heaved. Rain dripped from her yellow sundress onto the black and white checkered floor. Her knees were scraped raw, bloody. One sock missing, the other torn. Marcus spoke first, voice low and steady. "What's your name, baby girl?" "Emma," she whispered. "All right, Emma. Who's coming?" Her lips trembled. She looked back at the door like it might burst open again any second. "My uncle. He said I have to go with him, but I can't. I can't." Trey moved to the window, hand instinctively going to his belt. "What's he driving?" "Black truck," she said, voice shaking. "Big one, with the dent on the side." Kane crouched down to her level, tattoos snaking up his forearms. His voice was surprisingly gentle. "Emma, look at me. Did he hurt you?" She nodded once, small, definite. "Where's your mama?" Her face crumpled. "Hospital. She tried to stop him yesterday. He pushed her down the stairs." The air in the diner changed. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was the kind of shift that happens when good men realize evil just walked into their morning. Marcus stood slowly, pulling his phone from his pocket. "Darius, get her some water. Vic, watch the door." The waitress, Linda, who'd been serving them for years, rushed over with a blanket, wrapping it around Emma's shoulders. "Baby, you're safe now. Nobody's taking you anywhere." Emma's small hand clutched the fabric. "You don't understand. He always gets what he wants. The police. They know him. He works with them." Trey's jaw clenched. "What's his name?" "Raymond Booker." The bikers exchanged glances. Kane muttered a curse under his breath. Marcus's voice went cold. "You know him?" "Yeah," Kane said quietly. "He's a bail bondsman. Got half the cops in the county on his payroll. Brings in people who skip bail, but..." He looked at Emma, then back to Marcus. "There have been rumors. Girls going missing. Kids. Nothing ever sticks." Emma's voice came out barely above a whisper. "He took my cousin last year. We never saw her. Again." The silence that followed was suffocating. Then, headlights cut through the rain. Sharp. Deliberate. Too close. A black truck rolled into the parking lot, slow and confident. The dent on the passenger side caught the light from the diner's neon sign. Emma gasped, stumbling backward. "That's him!" Marcus didn't hesitate. "Get her in the back. Kitchen. Now." Linda grabbed Emma's hand, pulling her through the swinging doors. The other customers started whispering, phones coming out, but nobody moved to help. The truck's engine cut off. The door opened. Raymond Booker stepped out into the rain. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a leather jacket that looked expensive. His boots splashed through puddles as he walked toward the entrance. No rush, no panic. Just certainty. He pushed the door open, bell chiming cheerfully above his head. Water dripped from his coat onto the floor. His eyes swept the room, landing on the bikers still standing in the back. "Morning," he said, voice smooth, too smooth. "Looking for my niece. Little girl, about 8, braids, yellow dress. She ran off, got confused. Happens sometimes when she doesn't take her medication." Nobody answered. Raymond smiled, but it never reached his eyes. "Now I know she came in here. Someone must have seen her." Marcus stepped forward, blocking his path. "Don't know what you're talking about." Raymond's gaze sharpened. "That so?" He looked past Marcus toward the kitchen door. "Emma, baby, come on out. Uncle Ray's here to take you home." Silence. Raymond's smile faded. "Look, I don't want trouble. I just need my niece back. Her mama's worried sick." Trey's voice cut through the tension. "Funny. Girl said her mama's in the hospital. Said you put her there." Raymond's expression didn't change, but something flickered behind his eyes. Kid's got an imagination. Probably why she needs the meds. Kane crossed his arms. Then you won't mind waiting for the sheriff to sort it out. Won't be necessary. Raymond reached into his jacket. Every biker tensed, but he pulled out a badge, gold official. I work with law enforcement, bring in bail jumpers, runaways. This is what I do. He looked at Marcus. Now I'm going to ask one more time. Where is she? Marcus didn't blink. Not here. Raymond studied him for a long moment. Then he pulled out his phone, made a call. Yeah, it's Booker. I'm at Millie's Diner on Route 9. Need backup. Got some bikers interfering with official business. He hung up, slipping the phone back into his pocket. Sheriff will be here in 10 minutes. Then we'll see who's telling the truth. If you believe in the power of observation, in trusting your instincts, and in the courage it takes to speak up when something feels wrong, then pause for a moment. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to Black Iron Tales. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from today, because this story will remind you that heroes come in all sizes, and sometimes the smallest voices carry the most important messages. The bikers didn't move. They formed a wall between Raymond and the kitchen, silent and immovable. Raymond leaned against the counter, casual. You boys got names? None you need to know, Marcus said. That's fine. I'll find out soon enough. He glanced around the diner. Nice place. Be a shame if something happened to it. Code violations, health inspections. You know how it goes. Linda's face went pale, but she didn't say anything. Darius spoke up, voice steady. Threatening people now? Raymond shrugged. Just stating facts. World's a complicated place. Sometimes you gotta know when to mind your business. And sometimes, Vic said quietly, his first word since the girl arrived, you gotta know when to stand up. Raymond's eyes narrowed. Careful, friend. You're making this bigger than it needs to be. Outside, sirens wailed in the distance. Getting closer, Emma's voice came from behind the kitchen door, small but clear. He's lying. About everything. Raymond's jaw tightened. Emma, get out here, now. No. His hand moved to his belt, not to the badge this time. Lower. Trey saw it first, the grip of a gun tucked under his jacket. Don't, Trey said, voice low and dangerous. Raymond froze. I'm licensed to carry. Comes with the job. So are we, Kane said, pulling back his vest just enough to reveal his own piece. Difference is, we know when to use it. The sirens were right outside now. 2 patrol cars pulled into the lot, lights flashing red and blue through the rain. Raymond smiled. Now we'll see. 2 deputies walked in, hands on their holsters, taking in the scene. The older one, Sheriff Boyd, looked tired. The younger one, Deputy Cross, looked nervous. Raymond, Boyd said, got your call. What's the situation? These men are harboring my niece, refusing to let me take her home. Boyd looked at Marcus. That true? Marcus met his gaze. Girl came in here terrified, said he hurt her mama. We're not handing her over to anyone until we know she's safe. Boyd sighed. Look, I know Raymond. He's worked with us for years. If he says she's his niece, then he should have paperwork, Trey interrupted. Custody documents, something. Raymond pulled out his wallet, produced a laminated card. Guardian identification, issued by the state. Boyd examined it, nodded. Looks legitimate. Emma pushed through the kitchen door, Linda following close behind. The little girl's eyes were wet now, but her voice didn't shake. He killed my cousin, last year. Her name was Jasmine. She was 11. The diner went silent. Boyd's expression shifted. Emma, that's a serious accusation. It's true. She looked at Raymond. You took her, said she was skipping school, but she never came home. Raymond's face went hard. This is what I'm talking about, Sheriff. Kid's got problems, makes up stories. Then let's check, Marcus said. Call it in. See if there's a missing person report for a Jasmine. What's your last name, Emma? Williams. Boyd pulled out his radio, hesitated. Raymond put a hand on his shoulder. Don't waste your time. I already looked into it when the family made noise. Girl ran away. Happens all the time in that neighborhood. That neighborhood, Darius repeated, voice tight. You want to finish that sentence? Raymond didn't flinch. I mean troubled homes, poverty, broken families. You know how it is. No, Vic said quietly. We don't. Why don't you explain it to us? Boyd shifted uncomfortably. Look, let's all calm down. Raymond, maybe we should take this to the station, sort it out proper. Or, Kane said, you could ask Emma where her mama is right now, which hospital, then call and verify her story. Raymond's eyes flashed. I don't have to prove anything to you. Yeah, Marcus said, you do. Boyd looked between them, clearly torn. Finally, he pulled out his phone. What hospital, Emma? County General. She's in ICU, room 302. Boyd made the call. The wait felt like hours. Rain hammered the roof. Someone's coffee cup rattled against its saucer. Finally, Boyd's expression changed. He hung up, looking at Raymond. She's there. Admitted yesterday. Fall down the stairs. He paused. They noted suspicious circumstances, possible domestic violence. Raymond's calm finally cracked. Oh, she's clumsy. Always has been. The doctors disagree, Boyd said quietly. They contacted CPS this morning. The deputy, Cross, had been quiet until now. Sheriff, maybe we should… Yeah, Boyd cut him off. Maybe we should. He looked at Raymond. I'm going to need you to come with me, just to answer some questions. Raymond's smile was gone now, replaced with something cold and calculating. You're making a mistake, Boyd. You know, who I work for. Then they can bail you out, Boyd said. Let's go. For a moment it looked like Raymond might fight. His hand twitched toward his gun, but 5 bikers stood ready, and even he wasn't that stupid. He walked toward the door, then stopped, looking back at Emma. This isn't over, little girl. Remember that. Emma lifted her chin, tears streaming down her face, but voice steady. Yes, it is. Because now people know. If this story has touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Black Iron Tales. We bring you stories that prove heroism comes in all forms, that courage isn't measured by size or age, and that sometimes the smallest voices carry the most important messages. Tell us in the comments, have you ever noticed something important that others missed? Your story might inspire someone else. After Raymond left with the deputies, the diner slowly came back to life. Conversations resumed, forks clinked against plates, but everything felt different, heavier. Marcus crouched down in front of Emma. You did good, kid, real good. She wiped her eyes. Will my mama be okay? We'll find out. Linda's going to call the hospital, make sure someone's with her, and we're going to make sure you're safe. What about Jasmine? Emma's voice broke. Will they look for her now? Marcus glanced at the others. Trey nodded. Yeah, we'll make sure they do. Emma looked up at these 5 strangers who'd stood between her and the monster. Why did you help me? You don't even know me. Marcus smiled, tired but genuine. Because somebody should have helped Jasmine. Maybe if they had, you wouldn't be here right now. He stood, addressing the others. Trey, call Child Services. Kane, reach out to that reporter you know, the one who did the story on missing kids last year. Darius, see if you can find any family for Emma besides her mama. What about you? Vic asked. Marcus looked out at the rain. I'm going to the hospital. Make sure Emma's mama knows her daughter's safe. Emma tugged his jacket. Can I come? He looked down at her, this brave little girl who'd run through a storm to save herself. Yeah, but we're taking my bike and you're wearing a helmet. She almost smiled. I've never been on a motorcycle. Well, he said, today's full of firsts. 3 hours later, Marcus stood in the ICU waiting room, watching through the glass as Emma sat beside her mother's bed. The woman, Shanice Williams, had a bandage around her head, her arm in a cast, but she was awake, crying and holding her daughter's hand like she'd never let go. Trey appeared beside him, phone in hand. Reporters interested, real interested. Apparently Raymond's name has come up before in missing person cases. Nothing ever stuck, but now, he trailed off. Now there's a witness. Emma, Marcus said quietly. Yeah, and her cousin. Turns out there are 3 other girls who disappeared after Raymond brought them in. All black girls, all from poor neighborhoods, all written off as runaways. Marcus's hands clenched into fists. We need to find them. Already on it. Kane's working with a PI he knows. Vic's checking with some contacts in other counties. We're going to turn over every rock until we find those girls, or… He stopped. Or we find out what happened to them, Marcus finished. They stood in silence, watching Emma through the glass. She was showing her mother something, a drawing one of the nurses had given her. Shanice laughed, then winced, but kept smiling. You think she'll be okay? Trey asked. Emma? Yeah, she's tougher than any of us. Marcus turned away from the window. Come on, we've got work to do. Where are we going? To find Jasmine. The next few weeks moved fast. The reporter broke the story. Raymond Booker, respected bail bondsman and community figure, arrested on suspicion of kidnapping and human trafficking. His connections in law enforcement started distancing themselves. The investigation widened. They found Jasmine 2 states over, alive, working in a house that called itself a massage parlor. She was different, quieter, haunted, but alive. Emma's testimony combined with Jasmine's opened the floodgates. 4 more girls came forward, then 6, then 10. The trial would take years, but Raymond Booker wasn't getting out. Not this time. Marcus visited Emma and her mother once a month. Shanice had recovered, gotten a better job, moved to a safer neighborhood. Emma was back in school, seeing a therapist, slowly learning to be a kid again. On one visit, Emma asked him, "Why do you keep coming back? You don't have to." Marcus thought about that for a long time. Finally, he said, "Because you reminded me why I ride in the first place. Not to run from the world, but to be ready when someone needs help." He smiled. "You taught me that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is ask for it." She hugged him, small arms barely reaching around his waist. "Thank you for listening. Thank you for being loud enough to hear." The diner went back to normal. Sunday mornings, 5 bikers in the back booth, coffee and breakfast, trading stories. But now there was one more chair, a smaller one with a booster seat where Emma sat whenever her mama brought her by. She was part of the crew now, the smallest member of the Iron Brotherhood. And when she grew up, she'd tell her own story, about the day she ran through the rain, about the men who stood when others sat, about how sometimes salvation comes on 2 wheels and sounds like thunder. The road stretched ahead, endless and uncertain, but as long as there were people willing to listen, willing to stand, willing to fight for those who couldn't fight for themselves, there was hope. And hope, as it turns out, was louder than any engine. Thank you for watching. If this story reminded you to trust your instincts, to speak up when something feels wrong, and to never underestimate the power of paying attention, please share it. Subscribe to Black Iron Tales for more stories that prove heroes are everywhere. Courage comes in all forms, and sometimes the smallest person in the room has the biggest impact. Tell us in the comments, what would you have done in Emma's place?